Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Abundance Tree Podcast. Happy New Year, April.
Happy New Year. First show of the year, 2024. Let's
Exactly.
go.
So this episode's airing in January 2024. So Happy New Year, everybody. Thank you for
Happy
joining
New
us.
Year. Wait a minute. Those twists are twisting, ma'am.
Oh,
Those twists
thank you,
are
girl.
twisting.
Hey, can you believe it? This is all my hair. It's
I know it
natural.
is. Girl, you got a lot of it. Oh my
I
God. Those
do.
are
So
so great, girl.
thank you, girl. You're looking nice as always, girl. And I'm, as you can see, my T-shirt. Fear owes me millions. And so, shout
Shout
out to
out to
Reginald.
Reginald Blanks.
Yes, check out episode 11. So shout out to Reginald Blanks. I love the shirt. So
Episode
thank you.
11. Yep, sure
Yeah.
was.
So happy New Year, y'all. And
Happy New Year. Thanks for
yeah,
rocking with us.
absolutely. So we have a great guest tonight. So April, let us know who we're talking to this evening.
We really do. So it's my pleasure to talk about a true pioneer in the environmental sustainability and wellness advocacy. With a legacy spanning over 2 decades, she stands as a beacon of innovation and empowerment. She's an esteemed worm advocate and founder of Cathy's Crawly Composters. I had to say that really slow. Uh,
I love it.
established in really slow. That's like a tongue twister. Cathy's Crawly Composters. Established in 2002, Cathy has been at the forefront of revolutionizing vermicomposting. Her environmental business is not just about composting worms. It's also a testament to her commitment to a simple and effective solution for today's environmental challenges. Beyond her groundbreaking work, she has also been the leading force behind laughter sessions in diverse settings, from corporate environments to assisted living facilities and educational institutions. Prepare to be inspired by her unwavering dedication to environmental sustainability. We have Cathy Nesbitt.
All right, Cathy Nesbitt. This is awesome.
Cathy.
She's trying to come on, Cathy, show yourself.
I'm coming
She's
in the room.
laughing. I love it.
How are you?
I'm doing great. Nice to see you both.
Nice to see you too.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. I know. How exciting. A new year. Very exciting.
We're so happy to have you on the Abundance Street podcast. So thank you for coming on. So tell us about your story. What's your unique success story?
Well, I grew up, I'm in Canada, just north of Toronto. And in 2002, the landfill for the Greater Toronto area closed, and we started to export our garbage to the US. 1,000 trucks a week.
Wow.
And I had a solution. Let me first tell you what my working title is. It is Cathy Crawly Laughing Bean Queen. And it's simple solutions for today's challenges. Worms for amending the soil in the house, sprouts for eating, grow your own, and laughter for overall health and wellness. So I have this like, I was like a juggler before 2020.
That's a lot. First of all, I have to say Cathy's, look, I have to say it so slow, girl. That's a tongue twister for me. Cathy's, can you
Cathy Crawly Laughing Bean Queen.
Cat girl. That's a mouthful.
I love it.
I've had 22 years to come up with it.
Wow.
So it's just so much. So I've never heard of a worm composter before. You got inspired to worm compost by the landfill situation, and then you made it. And then when did you kind of pivot to like the laughter?
It was 10 years into my worm mission that one more person said, "Ooh, worms in the house." And I felt it. I'd heard it many times in the previous 10 years, and I wasn't paying attention. I was like, no, this is important. You need it. And so I kept on going. And then in 2012, when one more person said, "Ooh, worms in the house," I literally was stopped in my tracks. I questioned everything. I said, "Universe, what do you want from me? I mean, I'm doing what I can. I don't know what you want." why is this so hard? And maybe I should just get a job. Oh no, who would have me? No, like, no, this has to work. And I'm an action taker. I work really fast. I get an idea and I just do it. And I think that's the way in life. That's the way to live for me. A beautiful life. Don't think too much, because when we think our way out of stuff.
That makes sense. Yeah,
Very
that makes
true.
sense. And
Right? We get this. Go
I know
ahead.
that I have always had trouble with limiting beliefs, and so I've had to recently force myself to like do things scared. And so I love the fact that you're able to jump and just, like you said, take action and not think about it too much, because that's where you talk yourself out of it, like you said. So that's great that you're able to do that. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
I think when we get those inspired ideas where we go, oh, whatever it is, maybe it's a business or a hobby, or we want to go somewhere on a holiday, whatever it is, we get that thing and we go, oh, and we get all fired up. We're so excited. And then if we don't take action right away, write it down or do something, then we start to ruminate on it. And maybe we tell somebody and they're like, oh, remember last time, oh, da da do, blah, blah, blah. And they tell you the story, because if you change, oh no, now they got to do something like, and I'm going to use smoking. It's a really old example, but if you smoke and you want to quit smoking, your smoking friends aren't going to help. They're not going to support you in that. Because if you quit smoking, like everyone's going to be on their, back to quit smoking too. So when we do things that are different than other people, I think what happens is, we like no, we like not changing. We like the status quo, even though the status quo is not the status quo, it's ever changing. But we like to think that we have control, and we don't. I mean, 2020 showed us.
Mhm.
So in 2012, when one more person said, ooh, worms in the house, I questioned everything and I act fast. So I think for the first 10 years of my business, I was doing what I was supposed to do. I was divinely guided to sell worms by the pound. Okay, I was doing my job. And then when I questioned everything, the angels were like, oh, she's a fast one. She's about to bail. We got to throw her a lifeline. And the very next day I was introduced to laughter yoga.
Laughter.
And at the very place that wrote my business plan. Wow.
Wow.
I mean, I can hear angels singing right now. Like, it's just like, oh my gosh, I don't even do yoga. And I know yoga's a fine thing. I just jumped to the fun yoga.
That's crazy. So 12 years later, you were back at the same place where you started the business plan for your first business and come up with the business idea for your second business?
Right? I
That's
know.
crazy.
And I don't do yoga. So I was like, yeah, laughter yoga. I love laughing. What's that? And it was a 5-minute introduction. And then that same week, oh my gosh, 2012. So before, like BC.
Not that long ago. Not that long ago. It seems like it though, right?
It does seem like it.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
I was at a networking event, hundreds of people, and the very first woman I met, a laughter yoga teacher.
Laughter.
Twice in 1 week, I said to her, laughter yoga's mainstream. And I think she kind of got offended. And I realize now it isn't. She said, no, it isn't. And we trooped around that night. And everybody we met, I said, have you heard of laughter yoga? Have you? Nobody had. And I said, okay, what now, universe? Now what is happening here? Like worms
I
and
know
laughter?
I haven't
Yeah.
heard of worm composting or laughter yoga, to be honest. So like, and I know I'm probably going backwards because now I'm talking about the laughter yoga, but I was just so interested in how did you switch from that thing, which is completely different from the laughter yoga. And that's
Yeah,
really
so
interesting.
the laughter really helped me. So laughter yoga was started in 1995 by a medical doctor in India, Dr. Madan Kataria, and his goal is world peace. This is a global movement.
Oh, wow.
North America's
Wow.
a late adopter, so I'm not like a lot of people haven't, it's new, right? Yoga's kind of just arriving. So laughter
Mhm.
yoga is still in the ocean.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
so there's laughter clubs in over 120 countries, and it's not
Wow.
telling jokes, it's not comedy, it's laughing as an exercise,
Mhm.
laughing for the health of it. Ever heard laughter's the
Oh,
best medicine?
I have. Yeah.
yes.
Right?
Absolutely. I
It's
believe that.
it's an international term, like it's something, but we've forgotten. So
I
you
was
can
totally
laugh.
wrong. I'm sitting here envisioning people doing yoga, laughing in between and then stretching and laughing. That is not what I thought laughter yoga was. I am not gonna lie.
That's
That
great.
is
Thank you.
crazy.
I think that's what a lot of people think. So
Yeah.
if you go to a laughter club, it's a lot of women. And I think the word yoga discounts a lot of people. Like half the population are like yoga. Nah, I don't like yoga. It's
But
like,
I
good.
get
Yeah.
So
why
it's
they
not
call it
yoga.
yoga. Laughter is a workout. You ever laugh so hard your stomach hurt?
Yes.
Your stomach
Yeah.
hurts, your cheeks hurt, right?
That's
Those are
me.
the
Yes.
laughter muscles. So when we're
Yeah.
laughing, so let me talk about laughter. When we're laughing, we're secreting the love drugs, dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins versus cortisol and adrenaline when we're stressed. We're in charge of our own pharma. Like it's such a beautiful gift that we have. We've forgotten. And when we're stressed, we're not breathing properly. So our brain requires 25% more oxygen than the rest of our body as an operating principle. It's a machine, right? The answering machine. Um,
Yeah.
and when we're laugh at my lame jokes anytime. It's fine. So when we're stressed, we're not breathing properly. So our body's not getting what it needs. For sure, our brain isn't. We don't
That's
need
true.
our thinker when we go into stress, right? Like because our the amygdala, the stress center of the brain, has not evolved. So in the prehistoric times, we needed to know when we were in danger. So when we go into stress today, our body acts as if we're in imminent danger,
Fight or
like,
flight.
and we're not, right? If we miss
All
the
the
bus, it's
time.
annoying.
All
It's
the time. Yes.
Yeah.
right. If we lose our keys or we misplace our glasses or whatever, it's a nuisance, but it's
That's
not
frequently
life-threatening.
now. Yes.
Right.
This is my
Exactly.
life.
Our body acts as if, right? So
Yeah.
laughter helps us to override those. Like we get when we're laughing, we're secreting those chemicals, so our body feels great. And we can trick our mind. So our body doesn't know the difference between real and simulated laughter. How cool is that? So our brain
That's
might be saying, when you go to a laughter club for the first time, it could be awkward, right? When we do anything new, it's weird. Like it's like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing here. This is weird. So our brain is the role of our brain is to keep us safe and to conserve energy. Ever been to a family function?
yeah.
Right? And you get into those like age-old battles because your brother says something and then you're back in it again. Here we go. It's Thanksgiving,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That's because our brain I know what to do here, and so it just goes into autopilot and we jump into action. We can override that. So when we're laughing, first of all, we're oxygenating our beautiful brain. So when we're in stress, we're not breathing. So this forces us to, we can't just ha ha ha. We have to so we can
Really
continue
laugh.
laughing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right? So
Yeah.
it automatically forces us to breathe. So our brain gets oxygenated. Now we can come up with solution. We can find our keys that we lost because our brain is oxygenated now. And our body feels great. So I'm going to give you an example. When I've trained myself now, when I'm driving, if somebody when you're driving, if somebody cuts you off, it's not personal. It's like, hey, there's Janice, let's get her. No, unless it is, I don't know your people. You
No,
know,
no.
Some people do.
right?
Yeah.
Okay, but imagine that it's not personal. I take that as my cue for laughter yoga. So as soon as I get cut off, I'm like, oh, time for laughter yoga. I'll flail my arms around like as if I'm angry, like I'm like and I'm flailing. So the person is looking. Whenever you've cut somebody off, like maybe you ran out of lane, you weren't paying attention, and now you've
Yeah.
cut somebody off by accident.
Oh,
Imagine, assuming.
yeah.
Right, they're looking in the rearview mirror, and so they see that I'm flailing my arm. They think I'm angry. They're like, "Oh my God, that chick's crazy," and they give me space. I get more room, and I arrive
Sorry.
at my destination all oxygenated. I'm all calm, and
I'm laughing because I'm laughing because you're flaring your arms or whatever, and they're like, "Was that lady flipping me off? What's going on?"
Right.
I'm
You're
like,
like, what's
yeah,
wrong with her?
that's awesome. Oh
isn't
my
it great?
god,
That's so
Right?
cool.
I love it.
You can have that one. There you go. You're welcome.
That's really effective.
Right, instead of getting mad, like, oh, why did they cut me off? Hey,
Yeah.
we're
How
just
long
like,
did it
oh,
take you to train yourself to respond by laughing instead of like freaking out and like flinching up every time you lose your keys? Like, how did you train like, how long did it take you to train yourself to like respond
Oh,
to
that's a great
laughter?
question. So
Yeah.
laughter is a practice. This is a practice.
Yes.
So I've been laughing since 2012, really laughing since 2020. And in
Okay.
2020, so before 2020, I was going into long-term care, working with folks with dementia, because
Wow.
it's not jokes or
Oh,
comedy, it's laughing. It's like
yeah.
music we remember.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
Yeah.
I know, it's so beautiful. And working with special needs, going into schools, okay, so I was doing all kinds of gigs. And then 2020, I got locked in my house.
Mhm.
And then I was like, oh, okay, now what am I going to do? So I took a deep dive into why is laughter the best medicine? And I didn't have a laughter club. When you get trained as a laughter leader, there's kind of an unwritten rule because Dr. Kateria's goal is world peace. His goal is world peace. Like, what a great wagon to jump on. Can you imagine?
So
That's
I'm
awesome.
sorry. It's a
Is-
laughter leader, and then there are laughter parties or laughter.
Oh, so when you get trained as a laughter leader, there's an unwritten kind of rule, not rule, but an idea that you would start a laughter club, a free
A laughter
laughter
club.
club,
I'm sorry, not a laughter
a free
party.
laughter club, right? Because if we're going to have world peace, we all need to be laughing.
Mhm.
And there's problems with that. Like in India, it's fine because they have nice weather year round, and and they don't have to pay for space, and they have lots of people and all those things. So now it's different. But I said, universe, I do enough for free. I don't want to have a free club. And so people would ask me, I want to come to your laughter club. And I would say I don't have one because I keep getting paid gigs. Laughing all the way to the bank.
What is a laughter club? What is that? Is it like
So
a
laughter club is where you come. It's like you go to the gym or you go to a yoga class or you go to Zumba. You would go to a
Okay.
laughter club and get your laugh on. I have rock hard abs from,
what?
yeah, it's a
What?
That is
thing.
so
She's
fascinating to
hold
me.
on,
Oh
hold on,
my
hold on,
God.
hold on. She said she has rock hard abs. What?
I love it. Girl, I'm about to start laughing tonight.
I thought that might be done. I really thought, I love to laugh and I laugh a lot, and I don't have rock hard abs.
Me either. I need to laugh some
That
more.
is so cool. I love that. That's awesome.
So back to
Wow.
your question, April, it's a
Oh,
practice. How long did it take? I've been laughing since 2012. I was doing it, I was going here and there and whatever. And then 2020, I needed to laugh. I was doing between 100 and 200 gigs before 2020 and then nothing. So my income dried up, right? I mean, it was like, okay, now what? Now what? My house is too small for me to have so much thinking time. And so I started my laughter club. I was like, oh, okay. I'm sorry that I had to create a pandemic in order for me to start my club to fulfill the underlying rule. I'll take that. I didn't do the pandemic. But so I started my laughter club in June 2020. Every Tuesday, it's free. And I get people from around the world. I get 20 or 25 people every week. And not the same people. I never know who's coming because and I don't follow up. You're not in the funnel. I'm not going to bug you. You can sign up and not come or, come
it's
or
in
don't.
person?
Pardon me?
It's in person?
It's online.
Oh, it's online.
It's on Zoom. It's on Zoom. It's 30
That is
minutes of
so
super fun
cool.
self-care. And in 2020, I took a deep dive into learning about the science behind this magic medicine. There's science for those that need the science. It's here. We have it. Working with people with going through chemo. If they do laughter with the whole cancer team, before they do their treatments are better incorporated into their bodies and they have less side effects. Same with any surgeries, if they laugh before. People that are doing dialysis, if they're laughing, dialysis is brutal. I mean, they have to go every week, a few times a week, sometimes, depending on the severity. And so laughing, it just helps. It's a complementary medicine that there's no side effects and it just goes with everything and it just helps everything get better incorporated.
Wow,
So
that's
so how long does
amazing.
it take? It's a practice. And I say that I have a laughter buddy now. And since December 2021, We meet every morning. She calls me on the phone. We laugh full on for 2 minutes. We don't talk. We breathe for like deep breathing for 1 minute, and then we laugh for 2 more minutes. So it's 5 minutes in the morning.
That's wild.
7:30. It's a beautiful way to start the day. It's just like, like fully oxygen, like, hello world, I'm here. I'm ready now. What do you got for me? I got it. Because it's not that things aren't happening. I'm a person. So I get news, I hear things that are disturbing. But the laughter just helps me become more resilient. I just can get over things much faster, and I don't wallow down there. I don't go down the rabbit hole. I really want people to spiral up instead of spiraling down. And I truly believe that world peace is possible. And in my lifetime, I really believe that, because one candle will take away the dark. So if
That's
we all light our candle, we're all laughing.
Yeah.
We're all laughing together. We don't want to hurt each other. And prior to 2020, and I was doing Skype laughter. So it was mostly laughter professionals. It wasn't video, it was audio. And I would be doing my emails just laughing, 20 minutes of just laughing. And one day, Dr. Kataria came on, and he said they were launching Skype Pakistan. So he's in India. They're launching Skype Pakistan laughter. Can we come to, so we have a bigger launch? And there we were laughing together, India, Pakistan, people from around the world. And someone wrote in the chat box, wow, Dr. Kataria, you want to have world peace. And look, you have India and Pakistan laughing together.
Wow. That's
Wow.
amazing.
Wow.
Yeah. That's amazing. Oh, I love it. I mean, I think it's true that laughter is the best medicine. And for me, like I've come out of an adult trauma, and a lot of people have gone through, like, it could have been anything, 2020, bad relationships, toxic relationships, just any kind of trauma. And for you to have the laughter club available, so that way they can, like you said, they don't go down the rabbit hole of darkness or stay in their limiting beliefs, or where they could just laugh and get that dopamine hit, and it's so great. That's amazing. I love that.
So I'm just blown away. I never thought of
Yeah.
laughter that deeply. And I'm
Yeah.
just amazed by this whole
Yeah.
new perspective on laughter, and just
I know.
the science to it, the health benefits, and the abs, girl. Look, I want me some abs
Yeah.
like that.
I had no idea that it was like it's like you treat it like an exercise. Like me and
Right.
April can get together and just laugh just because we said something funny, but to treat it like it's just like you're going to the gym, that's amazing. I just never heard it that way. And so it's very
Yeah.
interesting.
It's
Yeah.
serious.
Yeah. I love it.
It's changing lives. And I want to tell you about working with special needs is one of my really soft spots. Before my worm business, I worked I was a secretary for 20 years before my worm business. I was getting my psych degree, going at night. It wasn't to get a degree. I didn't care about the paper. I just liked going to school. I liked learning. And I graduated in 2000, and I got a job at a group home working with challenged adults. And I loved it. Oh my gosh. I was like, oh, this is what I was put on earth to do. And then I couldn't work with management.
Oh.
Right. And that's
Policy.
okay. It's okay. It gave me
Yeah.
planted the seed. So I left there kind of with a heavy heart, thinking I didn't want to leave the people, but I couldn't work with management. And I learned early on that it's really important to love what you do. If your work isn't working for you, you got to leave it, because life it's we don't know. Yeah, and that's always been my mantra of my operating principle. So when I started my worm business, then I went, oh, what happened? No, I was working at the group home, and they didn't compost. They had 10 homes and a farm, and they didn't compost. And I was like, why don't you compost? Like, you have 10 homes and a farm. And they said, we don't need the fertilizer because we have cows. And I was
Okay.
like, it was the first time that I realized, oh my gosh, people don't even connect what they're doing. Like, they're creating all this food waste, and then they pay all this money to get rid of it. Why don't they just do something with it? For me, it was a no-brainer. It was like, I don't know, why wouldn't they just compost? So you don't need it, just sell it then. It's
Right.
non-toxic. You can just put it on the grass. Like, it's not going to harm anything.
Right.
There's no
So
chemicals in it.
So going back to the composting, you said that the need was that you solved was the trash issue in Toronto where they had to transport the trash to the U.S. And so composting, can you go into more detail about what exactly that is and how that works?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is indoor composting with worms. In Toronto, 6 million people in the Greater Toronto area, and about half live in condos, apartments, townhouses, without space to do outdoor composting. And I understand that not everyone that lives in a house composts either. So, but they could if they wanted.
Mm-hmm.
So this was really a solution designed for the apartment dwellers. And I
Okay.
didn't know, that when business, I didn't really have business background. I just had an idea and I jumped right in. Because what happened, I got injured at work. And because when work wasn't serving me, I had to leave. And I came home from work. There was an ad in the paper, right? The divine intervention that said, "Are
Mm-hmm.
you a woman? Do you have a business idea?" It was to write a business plan. So I
Okay.
turned to my husband. I said, "Oh, I'm quitting my job. I'm taking this course. I'm gonna be a worm farmer. I'm gonna start a worm business. Won't that be fun?" And in all honesty, if my partner wasn't gainfully employed, I'm not sure that I would have had the courage to start my business. I'm not sure.
Ooh,
And
Wow.
said a
so this is
mouthful with that. Yeah, it's true.
right. The universe is fascinating. Jokester. What a comedian. So I take this course. I start my business. 2002. There's a garbage strike in Toronto in the summer. It's not
Mm.
really a world-class city when there's a garbage strike, heaps of garbage everywhere.
Oh,
So
wow.
people were lining up for hours to drop their garbage off at the transfer stations. And I was like, those people don't compost. Because if you compost, it takes the stink out of garbage because you're taking the wet waste out, the food waste. Okay, so I was like, I'm going on a road trip with my worms. Somehow I got the wherewithal to send out press releases to the Toronto outlets. So I sent press releases to all the newspapers, TV. And 5 minutes after sending my press release, a reporter from the Toronto Star contacted me, largest paper in Canada.
Wow.
Wow. Whoa. Yikes. And said, "Thank you for your press release about vermicomposting. I did an article last week about composting and forgot about the apartment dwellers. When you're done at the transfer station, can you come down to the Star? I want to interview you." I was like, oh, "Youpee.
Wow.
Wow." And so I'm curious. I have a psych degree. I love people. I'm fascinated by why people do what they do. So I could have gone right to the Star, but I wanted to find out why people weren't composting. So I went to a transfer station. There was about 80 picketers. And I'm sure you know about the mob mentality, safety in numbers. You're not an
Mhm.
individual when you're in a group. Um, so there was a private investigator there, and he was hired by the city to record in case there was any skirmishes. So I knew that if something happened, it would be at least on record.
Yeah.
And I have no idea. Again, divine intervention, it had to be. Why would I go and face an angry mob with my business shirt on by myself? Why would my husband let me? See you, honey. Good luck.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Like looking back now, it's like, oh, was I nuts? Like, what was I thinking? I didn't know that I could have potentially been in danger, but because I just had this thing, I just wanted to know. Anyway, so I'm sure I was like a sideshow, right? For the people lining up for hours. It was fun having the picketers yell things at me and, us exchanging. And I somehow had the courage to stand there and tell them, I didn't swear, but I was like, I have every right to be here because I'm just on the road. You can't tell me. And then, anyway, so the police came and I didn't want to be arrested. Today I would probably be arrested, but I went to the Star and had my first article in the Star on July 18th,
Oh wow.
2002. And I called
Congratulations.
up my husband. Here's where the jokester comes in. And I said, "Yay, I got an article in the Star, Yoop." And he said, "I'm on my way home. I just got downsized."
Oh.
Back to what I said, if my partner wasn't gainfully employed, oh my God, now he isn't. And I was like, gulp. And now I
Yeah.
joke and say, why couldn't he have just got downsized tomorrow so I could celebrate my article in the Star?
Oh wow.
Right.
Yay, that's so crazy.
Wow.
And here we are, right? And I didn't realize people didn't buy what they need, they buy what they want, and they didn't want worms. So I started to do school workshops, and I said, I just have to wait 20 years for them to have buying power.
But you
Yoop,
stuck, so
I made
you
it.
stuck with it, and you stuck
Yeah.
with it for a while, and you made it work. Because I want to, and I'm sorry, I'm going backwards instead of forwards, but can we talk about the worms for a second? What are the worms for? Because for me, I know you like composting. How do the worms play into composting? Do you
Thank
sell
you. Yeah. So it
worms,
is in the
or do you
house. They're
sell
in
the
a
product?
container. They're
Okay.
not free range.
Okay, so you sell the actual worms that
They're in
can
a
Yeah,
container.
they're real
plant?
earthworms.
Oh, okay.
And it's okay. They're in the container and they eat half their weight per day. So there's no, and they don't have eyes. So there's no point in them going sightseeing. They can't see. So they're going to stay
Wow.
in the bin as long as the conditions are right. So they eat your paper scraps and they eat your food scraps. And
Wow.
some management is required, right? You don't want to have fruit flies and you don't want to have any other of those critters, like especially flying ones. So management is required. You bury your scraps in the bedding and it's moist. It doesn't smell. It's aerobic, meaning with oxygen, like aerobic exercise. It's
Mhm.
aerobic with oxygen. So if it ever smells, and the worms breathe oxygen. If it ever smells bad, the oxygen has now been converted into methane, into gas. So bad for us. We can't breathe gas. They can't breathe gas. It's like a built-in mechanism. And then the worms convert that into black gold, into soil, so nutrient rich fertilizer that we can then put on the gardens to grow more nutrient rich food. So this is beautiful, like going
That is
into
very
schools,
niche that you figured that out and did it,
Yeah.
and you made
Yeah.
it work.
right?
You made it work.
It
Who
wasn't
thinks
me. I was
that? That's
just the
crazy.
spokesperson. And sometimes we get in our head. I chose media as my marketing strategy after my success with the Star. So I've had hundreds of articles, TV, radio, and I was sharing all my stuff on social. And then I was like, people probably don't want to hear about me anymore. And I stopped sharing my things. I retreated. I was
Oh,
still getting the media, but I wasn't sharing it. And then I realized, oh my gosh, this is bigger than me. This isn't, I got to get out of the way. If I'm going to
Mhm.
solve this crisis, I need to get out of the way. It's not about me. I'm just the talking head.
Mhm.
I'm just the spokesperson for the worms. Like I need to share it. It's important. So thank you for having me on your podcast. I'm so happy.
thank you for
Absolutely.
coming.
Yeah.
This is
It,
just everything is so interesting to me. I've never heard of worm composting or laughter clubs
right. Well,
or laughter yoga.
I have to say that I have heard of the worm composting because I got into gardening a couple of years ago, and so it is that'll grow your vegetables really well. Like if you want to get into that, but
Really?
yes, it will. The
I
black
had
gold
no idea.
soil, yes, and also I love it because you help solve the problem of the trash issue that Toronto was having. Why not compost so that way they can reduce some of that trash that was having to be transported to the U.S. I mean that's a great solution. So
Just the
that makes a lot of
trash.
sense. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
and also the farming. Like I know there's like, especially now with like all the global warming and environmental stuff
yeah,
going on with like the
and
food and the
some of
farm.
the food, yeah, the GMOs and things like that. You at least you know
The
that it's great quality food and stuff.
the soil is really bad, I think,
Yeah,
on a large scale. So that's really important to even, ha have that ability to be able to do that naturally is very cool, I think.
that's
The
awesome.
worms were provided, right? The worms were there.
Yeah,
They've been waiting millions of
it's
years to
natural. Yeah,
serve.
that's crazy.
Yeah, just waiting beneath our feet. And like I feel like we know more about the stars and the ocean than we do about the soil, and that's where our food comes from.
That's
Mm.
true. That makes a lot of sense.
Mm.
So, so if you were to give our listeners some words of wisdom or words of advice, like if they're discouraged about starting their business and keeping and sticking with it, like you have, what would you tell them? How would they get past the limiting beliefs? And you could use the laughter in there if you want to incorporate that too, because I think that's awesome as well. But what would you tell them to
I would
encourage them?
say if you have something that a burning desire to do something, take a step, like just start doing something and surround yourself. Don't tell family because they're not going to support you until you're successful. Then they'll be like, I always knew. Like at first, like lots of people were like, oh, your worms are like, get a job. Like, come on, you're going to sell worms.
Yeah,
And now it's like, oh, of course, we knew. Right. So I would
Right.
say, like, just stick with it. Find your people, find the people that support your vision, because they're out there, and ask for help. That's something that we don't do, especially as women. We think, I got this, I can do it. Well, men too. I think men often do a lot of stuff on their own. So just ask. It's no for sure unless you ask is one of my favorite expressions. And it's the truth. And just do it. Like, don't be afraid. Don't wait till it's perfect, because it's never going to be perfect. Everything's ever changing. Like, get something out there and then you can change it from there. But just take action. You live the coolest life when you live outside the box. When you're following all the sheep, then you're just smelling bums.
I love it.
I
I'm
never heard that one. I love it. Yes.
very, very well said. So I love that. That's
Girl,
so
how do you
awesome.
join the laughter club?
I
You're
know.
cracking up
Yeah.
all day.
Tell us how to join the laughter club.
Yes.
Yes, come to my laughter club. Oh my gosh, it's every Tuesday, 9:30 a.m. Eastern, 30 minutes in the morning, 30 minutes of super fun self-care. And as a laughter yoga teacher, I incorporate tapping, brain gym, qigong. My prime objective with my club is just to help people get out of stress and into joy. I want people to care about the planet, but when you're in a mental crisis, that's where you are. You can't even help yourself. So I really want people to get out of this crisis, because when we feel good, we do good.
Yeah,
And so world
Absolutely.
peace is possible. We can do all these wonderful things where we are living on purpose and living our dreams. And it's not just an airy fairy thing. It's hard work. But when you work, you're going to work anyway. You're working either for somebody else's dream or you're working for your own dream. And I'm not saying it's easy, but if you're doing what you love and you're making a difference, you don't have to be solving any world crisis. If you serve one person, you're making a huge difference.
Absolutely.
I really think that we're a giant mosaic. We're like a giant jigsaw puzzle, and we're all like teeny pieces. And we're all needed. We all need to step up and be bigger. We need to do what we're supposed to do, so that we can have a complete jigsaw puzzle.
very
Wow. I
wise
love
words.
it.
Very wise words.
Very
We got about
wise.
a minute. Can you drop your website? And if your laughter club is open, to the public, would you mind dropping that? Or let
Yeah,
us.
it's cathysclub.com, and the information to register is right at the top, Cathy with the
Okay.
C. And yeah, everybody's welcome, and plan to come twice, because the first time might be weird.
I
Okay,
love it.
cool. We
And we're
love it.
gonna
We'll
have
put the
all
links in the description. Yeah,
right.
Thank
We'll
you.
put it on the description,
definitely.
but
That's so
I
cool.
this definitely was a very great and fun conversation, Cathy. Thank you so much for coming on with us tonight.
First
Yeah,
one
this
of the
is
year. Happy New Year.
Yeah,
Happy
Happy
New
New
Year,
Year.
girl. And
And
let
we're
me
gonna
just tell you, you're amazing for doing
uh,
everything that you've done
Thank
and
you.
making those niche subjects.
yeah,
Like, shout out to you, girl. And thank you for coming on the show.
Thank
right.
you. Thank
And
you both.
we'll have to have you back as well. So
Have to
thank you
have
so
you
much.
back.
Oh,
Yeah,
anytime, I'm back.
thank you. Well, you
All
all have
right,
a
you
great
guys.
night.
Have a great
Thanks for
night.
listening.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye.